Hey, welcome to After She Left. Stay till the end and don't forget to subscribe. I played the gentleman all night, but by sunrise she'd see what I really am. My name is Brendan. I'm 38 years old. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I fix HVC systems for a living. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and gets me home in time for dinner, or at least it used to. Her company threw this big end of quarter gala at the Renaissance Hotel downtown. Black tie, fancy lighting, waiters floating around with champagne flutes and tiny crab cakes. It was the kind of event where they dim the lights just enough to make everyone look richer than they are. I didn't want to go. I'm not into small talk or making nice with people who think manual labor is a character flaw. But she asked, begged, really. Said it would mean a lot if I was there. The partners are coming, she told me. It's important they see I have a solid support system. So I put on the suit that makes my shoulders itch and let her pick the tie. We Ubered there, and she looked incredible. Hair done, long dress, heels, ein Frentjais. I know she was regretting by hour two. I even caught her smiling at me the way she used to, back before we both started swallowing silence at dinner. For the first hour, I stuck by her side like she asked. She introduced me to her coworkers, and I nodded and shook hands. They smiled politely. A little too politely, when I told them what I did. She laughed like she could smooth it all over. Brendan's more of a homebody, she said at one point, clinking glasses with some guy named Aaron. That would have been fine. But then she added, he's not ambitious like Aaron. Different breed, you know? Then, loud enough for everyone to hear, she said, he's not even a real man sometimes. The group chuckled. One of the women glanced at me with this weird sympathy, like she didn't know if she should laugh or apologize. My wife didn't notice I'd stopped smiling. I stood there, whiskey glass in hand, wondering how I became a punchline in my own marriage. She kept chatting, oblivious. At one point she reached for my hand, like it would undo what she said. Her fingers brushed against mine, and that's when her face changed. She blinked, did a little double take. My wedding ring wasn't there. I didn't say anything, just raised my glass, gave her a smile that didn't reach my eyes, and walked away. Let her finish impressing Aaron without me. Out on the balcony, the city looked beautiful. Cold, distant, kind of like us lately. I stared at the skyline for a while, nursing the rest of that whiskey. The truth is, that wasn't the first time she'd put me down in front of Aaron. A couple weeks earlier, we were at a bar after her team closed some big deal. She said something about how Aaron really knows how to lead, then gave me this sideways look and said, Brendan doesn't really think about things like that. That time, I let it slide. Told myself I was being sensitive. But tonight she crossed the line. I never make scenes. I don't raise my voice. But I do remember things. I keep track. That's what she doesn't get. And as I watched her through the glass, still talking, still laughing, like none of it mattered, I realized something. She didn't lose her grip tonight. I did. Only I'm not slipping anymore. I'm waking up. And that ring she noticed was missing, I took it off on purpose, in the car, just before we walked in. I already knew she was going to say something that would tell me exactly where I stood. She just confirmed it. After that gala, I stopped wondering if I was overthinking it, and started keeping score. This wasn't new. That night wasn't the first red flag. It was just the first one I couldn't pretend away. Once you see your wife laughing while you're being cut down in front of her boss, you stop ignoring the little things. You start paying attention. And I did. A few weeks before the gala, her sister came over for dinner. Just the three of us, some takeout, a bottle of wine. We were talking about work, or rather, they were. I was loading the dishwasher. Out of nowhere, she said, Brendan took the handyman route. You know, simple life, steady money. He settled. Meanwhile, I'm still climbing. Then she laughed and took a sip of wine like it was no big deal. I stood there, hands wet, a dish still in my hand. Settled? I didn't say anything at the time, just dried my hands and finished cleaning up. But I logged it. Then came the perfume. She used to wear the same scent, something soft, something floral when we had date nights. She hadn't worn it in months. But one Tuesday morning, I walked into the bathroom while she was getting ready for work, and the whole place smelled like it again. You wearing that for work? I asked. She didn't even look up from the mirror. Yeah, this is for work, not home. I didn't reply. What was there to say? That weekend, I noticed her phone was glued to her hand. always buzzing, always lit up. One night we were sitting on the couch, not talking, just existing next to each other, and she laughed at something on her screen, real laughter, the kind I hadn't heard directed at me in a while. "Something funny?" I asked. She tilted the screen away and said, "Just work stuff." When I reached for her hand a few minutes later, she flipped the phone face down and gave me a tight smile like she hadn't even noticed. One night, I brought up the idea of taking a weekend trip, something simple, a cabin, a lake, just the two of us, like old times. Her face twisted like I asked her to babysit my tools. "Brendan," she said, "I have real work to focus on now. Deadlines. Maybe when things calm down." I nodded. Let it go. But I started listening more after that. Her texts were always coming in late at night, and I started catching glimpses of names I didn't recognize. Her posture shifted when she got one, sitting straighter, smiling without realizing it, and every time I tried to get close, she acted like I was interrupting. And Aaron, his name came up more than mine did. Aaron's so sharp. Aaron had the best idea during the meeting. Aaron really knows how to take charge. One night I asked, "Do you ever talk about me at work?" She looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Just, do you ever talk about your husband?" She stared at me for a second, then said, "I mean, not really. There's nothing to say." That one hit different. I didn't argue, just nodded like I understood, like she hadn't just thrown a brick at my chest. But I remembered. I remembered everything. By the time the gala rolled around, I had already started preparing for the moment I'd stop playing the fool. That night didn't blindside me. It confirmed what I already suspected. She didn't just stop appreciating me. She started resenting me. And the craziest part, the next morning, after all that, after her little speech about me not being a real man in front of her boss, she acted like nothing happened. She made coffee, asked if I wanted toast, kissed me on the cheek before heading to work. I stood at the window, watching her drive away, wondering how long it would take her to realize what she lost. That night, I got a DM from someone I'd never spoken to in my life. Aaron's wife. She followed me on Instagram. Her message was short. "You seemed uncomfortable last night. I'd like to talk." And just like that, I knew. I wasn't the only one keeping score. She had no idea how close the floor was to falling out from under her. The message from Aaron's wife came the day after the gala. Her name was Leah. I didn't even know what she looked like at first. Just a tiny profile picture of a woman holding a toddler smiling at the beach. Her DM sat in my inbox for a few minutes before I even opened it. "You seemed uncomfortable last night. I'd like to talk." That was all it said. No explanation, no small talk, just a quiet invitation to compare notes. We met at a coffee shop 2 days later. She picked the place, neutral ground, a sleepy corner spot with mismatched chairs, and a staff that looked like they all played in the same indie band. She was already there when I arrived. No kid, no smile this time. "You Brendan?" she asked, standing halfway. I nodded, shook her hand. Her grip was steady. Her eyes weren't. She didn't waste time. "I already saw some of the clips from the gala," she said, stirring her coffee like it gave her something to do with her hands. "A friend of mine works events. She took a video when they were all giving toasts. Thought I'd want to see it." "And?" Leah didn't look at me when she answered. "Your wife's pretty cozy with my husband, laughing at your expense, calling you the practical one, saying Aaron and her are on the same wavelength." She made a joke about how you don't dream big and that she feels like she's got two husbands but only one who gets it. I felt my stomach knot up. I thought I had heard the worst of it at the gala. But of course there was more. There's always more when people think they're safe behind champagne and clever wordplay. I told myself I was being paranoid, Leah said, finally looking up, until she texted him the next day and said, "Don't worry, Brendan's clueless." I blinked. "You saw that?" She pulled out her phone, opened a folder. "You want to see the rest?" She showed me screen after screen, inside jokes, late night texts, photos from after hours team drinks. They weren't sleeping together, not that I could prove, but emotionally, they were already halfway to a shared apartment and a divorce lawyer. I told her I had something too. Pulled out my phone and scrolled to the voice recording. I hadn't planned to record anything that night, but I had started taking precautions weeks earlier. After one too many weird moments, I began keeping records. Just in case, I hit play. The audio wasn't perfect. a little noisy, a little muffled, but Leah could hear it clearly enough. The laughter, the mockery. My wife saying, "He's not ambitious like Aaron." Then the kicker. "He's not even a real man sometimes." Leah flinched like she'd been hit. I paused the audio. She nodded, tight-lipped. "Send it to me." I did. And that was the moment everything turned. That night, I told my wife I was heading to my brother's for a few days. No excuses, no fight, just the truth, or enough of it. "I need some air," I said, grabbing a duffel and my keys. She blinked from the couch, TV remote in her hand. "What? What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm leaving for a bit." "Is this about the gala?" she asked, her voice edging toward something defensive. I didn't answer. Just walked into the bedroom, packed light, like I didn't plan on staying away for long. But in truth, I didn't know if I was ever coming back. Before I left, I placed my wedding ring in the top drawer of her nightstand. Right on top. Couldn't miss it. And on the kitchen counter, I left the prenup, unsigned. When we got married, she insisted on it, said it was just for appearances, said it wouldn't matter in the end. Well, it mattered now. I didn't slam the door on my way out. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse her. I just left it cracked, wide enough for the truth to walk in behind me. What she didn't know was that Leah had already called her husband and left him a voicemail. Her voice steady, her words clear. "I know what you and Claire have been doing. I saw the texts. I heard the recording. You better start packing." It was poetic, really. The two of them wanted to play house in their own little fantasy world. Fine. Now they could watch it burn. Together. She called me at 6:03 a.m. on the dot. I didn't answer. I lay there staring at the ceiling in my brother's guest room, the light just beginning to creep through the blinds. My phone buzzed again, then again. By the fourth time, I turned it face down. I already knew what she was waking up to. She'd walked into our bedroom and seen my side of the closet empty. No shirts, no boots. Just hangers swaying like wind chimes in a storm I didn't cause. In the garage, my toolbox and gear were gone. Even the shelves I built myself had been cleared. That room had always been mine. Now it was air. I left the prenup right where she couldn't miss it, on the kitchen counter, unsigned, with a bright yellow sticky note stuck to the front. "You were right about ambition." Let her chew on that while she poured her coffee. By noon, I got a message from my brother. She tried calling me. I didn't answer. Then another one, this time from Leah. "Aaron's been served." I forwarded everything to HR this morning. That hit harder than either of us expected. My wife's company didn't fire her outright, too many politics for that. But Aaron, he was gone within the week. Quietly, like a stain you don't want guests to see. A partner one day. Cleared out desk the next. Claire, yeah, I'll use her name now, was moved to another team. Less responsibility, no more presentations. She told a mutual friend it was temporary, that she was just laying low. But we both knew what that meant. They had pulled the rug out from under her, gently, let her land on a floor of splinters. She tried to call again that afternoon. I blocked her number. I didn't want to hear her voice trying to pretend like she hadn't lit a match and smiled while everything burned. You know what the wildest part was? She didn't even try to deny it. No angry texts, no long-winded explanations, not even a half-hearted, "it didn't mean anything." She knew, and maybe that's what hurt her the most, that I didn't give her the fight she was waiting for. I didn't scream. I didn't throw words or furniture. I just walked out and let her deal with the quiet. But the quiet didn't stay quiet for long. Aaron's wife didn't just leave him. She made sure he left the company with a reputation that would follow him like a shadow in a boardroom. HR knew. Leadership knew. People started whispering about emotional boundaries, about power imbalances. Funny how fast corporate loyalty fades when the wrong people see the right proof. Meanwhile, Claire was still waking up in our house, the one we used to fill with music and takeout and tired laughter. Now it was just echoes. She called my mom, tried to explain, tried to spin it like we were taking space. But Mom already knew. I had told her everything, and you know what she said? She got too used to you standing still while she reached. She got that right. Claire thought the worst part would be losing me. It wasn't. The worst part was losing the version of me that would have forgiven her. And that man? He packed up his side of the closet and left before sunrise. A few days after I left, a small cardboard box showed up on my brother's porch. No note on the outside. just my name in her handwriting, neat and sharp like always. I brought it inside, placed it on the kitchen table, and sat there staring at it for a while. I already knew what it was. That's what made it feel heavier than it should have. When I finally opened it, everything I had left behind was inside. A few shirts, a watch, some old receipts she probably found in the nightstand drawer. On top was a white envelope. I opened it. Her letter was short. I didn't mean what I said that night. I was nervous and stupid and trying too hard. Please don't let this be the end. No apology, just regret shaped into a favor. I didn't read it twice. Instead, I packed everything back up, every shirt, every little reminder she thought I'd want, and added something of my own. A thumb drive. It had the recording from the gala, the full one, the laughter, the insults. The moment she reached for my hand and realized my wedding ring wasn't there, I taped a sticky note on the outside. In case you forgot how it started. Then I dropped the box off at her office myself, left it with the front desk, didn't say a word. Walked out before anyone could ask who I was or if I wanted to wait. I didn't. I was done waiting. Word got around, quietly, like it always does in corporate circles. Her department's vibe changed. People who used to huddle around her desk stopped dropping by. Lunch invites dried up. Smiles became tight and cautious. No one said anything to her face, but I know how that kind of silence works. It's the kind that tells you they know, even if no one says it. She tried to hold it together, kept posting curated snapshots of her new chapter and growth season on social media, but I noticed she disabled comments on most of them. She was unraveling, slowly in private, and I didn't have to do a thing. I never posted about what happened, never shared the screenshots, the audio, or the texts, didn't play the victim, didn't rant. I just let the story tell itself. She messaged my mom, twice, my sister too, said she missed the family, said she hoped we could talk soon. They didn't reply. They had my back. Always did. Leah reached out again about a week after Aaron moved out. She told me she'd filed for separation, said she felt like a fool at first, but then she saw how peaceful her home became once the noise was gone. We didn't talk long, just enough to share a quiet moment over the phone. I don't know what happens next, she said, but I know what won't. I got it. You learn to appreciate stillness when your whole life's been running damage control. As for Claire, she didn't fall apart all at once. She cracked, then chipped, then started realizing just how loud a whisper can echo when it comes from someone who used to love you. All I had to do was stay silent. Her own mouth did the work for me. It's been 6 months. The ring she reached for that night, I pawned it the next day. Got just enough to buy a new set of tools and a used trailer to haul them in. Funny how something that once symbolized forever could pay for a socket wrench set and a half tank of gas. I moved back to my hometown, Marion, about an hour north of Columbus. Not much has changed there. The grocery store still has those squeaky carts. Same barbershop, same faded pizza place with the best damn wings in Ohio. I picked up steady work with my cousin's contracting business. Roofing, drywall, HVAC calls. Stuff that makes your back ache in the good kind of way. The kind that reminds you you earned your sleep. I work hard, I come home tired, I sleep well. I started fixing up an old boat on weekends. Nothing fancy, just a busted up fishing boat. A guy was selling cheap out of his backyard. I patched it up myself, painted it blue. Still figuring out the engine, but I like having something that doesn't need me to prove anything to it. Just needs attention and time. I haven't dated since. Don't plan to for a while. Some guys rush back into it like they're racing to replace the silence. I'm not afraid of being alone. I've learned to like my own company. There's peace in waking up and not walking on eggshells. Her name doesn't come up anymore. Except once. A couple weeks back, one of the guys I work with asked if I missed her. He said it casual, over lunch, like he was just making conversation. I chewed my sandwich, thought about it for a second and said, "Miss what?" He laughed, but I wasn't joking. I don't miss the version of myself I was with her. Always shrinking to make her shine brighter. Always apologizing for things I didn't do. Always being the stable one so she could be the storm. I don't need that life back. Now I wake up, throw on work boots and build things that stay built. Nobody mocks me at parties. Nobody tells me I'm not a real man. Nobody flips their phone over when I walk in the room. Turns out being not a real man pays off just fine. And as for her, She once bragged about building empires. Now she's rebuilding from ashes, without me.